Good morning, guys. Sorry about that. That was getting a little tricky there. Trying to reset everything. We've had issues. We've had crazy weather. Obviously, everything going on with the COVID. We've had a lot of issues with our ISP and just with overloaded circuits. And a lot of people from being online, doing all the online school, and people working from home. And it doesn't usually matter because I live so far out from everybody, but because the trunk line intersects twice. So yeah, they've had issues, and we've had them out here twice in the last 2 weeks. So that's kind of where I've been. It's actually been kind of nice though, being more on the chat. So trying to juggle that a little bit more, and I'll try to do a little bit better job of that. As far as like being on stream, we'll always be doing a pre-market prep thing. We may, as we get more people, and if we can get more people to join in earlier, I'd like to start it earlier so we can actually go over like the previous day and then go over like lessons for this like upcoming day. So I'd like to be able to do that like 30 minutes before if we get enough people. Like what's been on now would be perfect. That's more than enough for me to do that. And especially as we start going and rolling out our course, and we'll be gathering students. We're not going to take very many. We always want quantity over quality, or quality over quantity. We don't ever want to go the other way. So yeah, been a pretty crazy couple weeks since I've been on here. Obviously, we've been going over everything in Discord. We'll continue to do that. After yesterday's massive rally, one of the big things that was divergent there a lot, even though it pulled up everything, was the Dow. So the problem is the Dow is kind of an outdated index, in my opinion. It's so heavily weighted by stock that it doesn't really, give us an accurate representation of the market like the S&P does. So even though I played it quite a bit yesterday because of the point spread, it's not something we want to necessarily dwell on a lot when we're looking at plays for the day, and especially like what we're going into today. So obviously we rallied huge on a bunch of stuff with a lot of it people were kind of going back and forth. A lot of it was the stimulus package, but a lot of it also definitely was that Trump saying that trying to get back to normality here soon, which I think is going to be definitely way too soon. And you can see that as more, you could see all the stuff I posted in Discord this morning, and that's where we just started, we first came in with that nasty mortgage rate fall, and then that's where we just kind of tanked here this morning. So, going into, cash open here, this is exactly like to the T, exactly what I just said, over half an hour ago, that we would open up right here. That's exactly what I was saying. It's pretty easy when you know these levels that we've been given over and over and over, and you can tell that these were exactly right on our levels. So there's a big discrepancy. Unlike yesterday, it's the complete opposite. There's actually more stocks still up as the market is down. That's actually good for bullish products. So I expect this to be a push up, if anything, possibly a short squeeze, but I definitely think this is going to push up here out of the gate. Be careful. We don't know what's going to happen with this. There's the bell there. So we don't know what's going to happen with this Senate vote. So when it does come through, it's obviously things are going to go crazy. There's a lot of provisions in there, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. But this is going to be that zone, you guys. They're going to be fighting for this thing, up and down this. So it's at 24.28. 24.50. You got VWAP right here. So VWAP opening up right now is 24.3503. So we'll just say 24.35. So they're definitely going to be fighting in this zone. So bulls are not going to want this to break. The real level that is down here that they've got to be watching out for is 24.06. That's what I was talking about with Ryan this morning in Discord. So that'll be like the more important level here. So if that breaks, we could see this thing really accelerate. Obviously, they're going to try to trip people up as much as possible. So expect this to probably pull down and then move a little bit more into the session here. So let's go ahead and see where we opened up. Yeah, so opening up pretty decent. Not as decent as I thought we were going to open up on the add decline line. So we are up about a 794-ish. So I thought we'd actually be up in about the 1,000. So that's what happens when you get a big dump like that pre-market. It really shakes that loose. But you can see they're going to be fighting for that line just like we were just saying. Decent ticks here. Not a lot of volume coming in. That's kind of expected with the way the market is today, guys. It's kind of that... people are just kind of going to be scared until we get that stimulus actual vote. Let's see here. I'm trying to get this Discord line open, and it's being weird. So these ticks are just really, really minuscule compared. I mean, we were up so huge yesterday. It's going to be really hard to kind of compare that. And that's kind of how I've kind of was joking the other day, and even yesterday. But it's just, being so used to being up at like 3,400, now that we're way down here, like 1% comes so soon, and we're so used to having these, limit up, limit down days that, just anything range bound seems so crazy to us. But honestly, it is needed. We need to kind of get away from what we've been seeing. It's not healthy. Like Spartacus was talking about, it's so hard for him to trade. And that's not just him, that's everybody. That's why, I just saw this article this morning on Bloomberg. I was reading pre-market while I was trading. There's a giant Japanese firm. They were talking about like billions of dollars that they blew up. They haven't fully announced everything, but we're just going to keep seeing stuff like that. And we just saw that, I don't remember to say it right, Ronin or whatever capital, they blew up. And that's just some of the big ones that we know of. Imagine all the little guys that have blown up in some of these other smaller funds. So that kind of stuff's going to keep coming out as this goes along here in the next, several weeks. Especially going to be interesting tomorrow. Tomorrow we get a jobs number. So they're going to do everything they can today to save this, guys. The thing is, so yesterday, even though we had the VIX, the VIX was pointing down a little bit in the morning, but even as the market was rising, the VIX continued to rise. I mean, we went all the way to look at that. We got up to 68.03 here. I mean, the VVIX is still clear up at 171. These are absolutely unprecedented levels. Like, this is just incredible. Like, we've gotten this high before, but never for this long. That's the crazy part, is the duration of these moves. We can see XLP is down just slightly this morning, so that's perfectly in line. So no diversion there, as XLF is pushing up 1.5%. Oil is falling down a little bit again here. It's already down 2.3%. It was up at 25.24. I was hoping to see this continue to rise. I really wanted to see this get up to like 27 to kind of hold that ground up there. I've got a bunch of charts. I'm sure you guys saw me post those a couple weeks ago. I've got an updated one because this is literally falling perfectly right in the plan. I just really want to see this thing get into 27 within the next week or two. I think it'll get up there. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on still with that Saudi Arabia and Russia fiasco, and also now, I don't know if you guys saw on Discord, I posted, they are, Khashoggi is being indicted. They're indicting for the Khashoggi murders, so that's going to lead to a lot more tension than we need right now, so that's going to be interesting. So gold is down this morning. It was up at $16.99, so just knocking on 1700. I do expect this to probably try to push up. Even if the price is pushing up, this is going to continue to push up. Bonds and 10 years are pushing up a little bit here, but they are down on the day, and they have been somewhat flat. Like, you can see that we had gone up quite a bit here on the bonds, but it's pretty much just been trailing flat for the last couple of days, pretty much this week. So people are not, even though we got a lot, people basically went from absolutely panic, blood in the streets, to complete FOMO overnight yesterday. So, but those bonds tell the story. It's not true. People are still quite scared. So going into the FANGs, Facebook is down still just under 1% here. Apple holding nice onto its gains from pre-market here. It is up 3% here. It did hit a high of 259.90. Apple has a few good catalysts in the news this morning. It had a couple upgrades. It also has news that it is pushing really strong and hard to get out of China as far as its supply lines. I think they see the writing on the wall and they don't want this to ever happen again. So China is looking into and already building out of China, which is awesome to hear, which gives me a lot more faith. I was already telling people that I think, Apple is one of the best ones to pick up while we're down here in these big dips. I think Apple is a good long-term play. I've already been picking up a few shares. I don't have a lot, but a little bit. Amazon trying to make a push up to get green. It is just about to turn green as I'm speaking here. Netflix holding on just about 1% today. Google is down 0.24%, and Microsoft is up just about 0.64%. Let's continue to look around here. So Boeing was up massive pre-market once again. So they're again getting they're not getting necessarily upgrades, but they are, because they're not really upgrades. They're just better than downgrades. So they're kind of getting more like neutralized and stuff like that from all the analysts. So Boeing is still up about $22, which is 17% this morning. Roku is up 1.86%, 1.9%. Activision up just over 1%. Shopify having another beautiful day, opening and holding up over that upper Celt on the 4-hour there, so very bullish. I'm still playing in that Shopify play. I've been in it for about 4 days, I think, since Friday. Yeah, I think I got in on Friday when it held that 14 MA, which it actually looks like it dropped on here. No, it did. Yeah, it held over there. I was like, that doesn't make sense, but NVIDIA is up another 3% today, been absolutely on a rip. NVIDIA is one of those ones when the market has been so weak and it's still holding up. Don't chase NVIDIA, but on pullbacks, on days that it's pulling back, that's when you want to get in long. So I'd keep an eye on NVIDIA, and on a red day, that's when you want to get in long. It's definitely it's on its way to rip up again. Tesla is also up 10% today, so that's another one. If we can close up over this upper Celt on a pullback day, that's when you want to get long. And you can see some big ticks coming into the market now. Speaking of NVIDIA, you guys, Micron has earnings today after the bell, so that'll be something that we will be watching for a little bit of a look to see how the chips are doing overall. So that might, if they get a pullback, then NVIDIA might get a pullback with it in like a pairs type of trade. And if that's true, I would get long in NVIDIA and not on Micron. I do like Micron, but it's got earnings, so I would kind of stay away with it. Same with Qualcomm here down on the lower left. It is up about 0.5% here, but going up over across the top, our China stocks, BABA is up 1.7%. BDU is up just about 2%. AMD just up almost under 3%. Qualcomm up, like I said, 0.4%. Disney is up another 3.7%. And McDonald's up another 5% this morning. So McDonald's and Disney just been absolutely ripping. Again, I would not be chasing those and getting FOMO on those. I'd wait for those to pull back and then get long onto those guys. So that's what I'd be looking to here. So you can see we're getting back above that critical to 2450. So we're going to start to get a rip up here. I would expect to see this. I would be looking for that 24.98 is where we topped out in pre-market, so that would be a key level. If it can get over that, then we're going to probably look for another 40 to 60 points. Otherwise, we could see a reverse up in that area. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. So now we are still continuing to get some nice strong ticks here. Ad decline is continuing to rise nice and strong here. So right now we are sitting at a 1600. We hit down at a 1210. So it's 1605. So these are looking just absolutely beautiful actually this morning. So the ad decline line is going to be something we're going to be keeping our eye on very strong today. For any possible indication of this market turning. Internals looking very, very strong. I mean, look at these ticks, you guys, just straight up. Even though they started out pretty low and pretty small, you can see that we continue to get up in these like higher hundreds. Look at that. I mean, look at these. All the markets just looking straight up. That is absolutely beautifully bullish. So I would be looking for pullbacks to get long until we don't, and I almost expect some of this news to come out here. I'm trying to see right now. I'm looking at Pro right now. Hold on. Pentagon Acquisition Chief Ellen Lord says DoD is attempting to move production masks, ventilators, all that. And I'll talk more about that stuff because there's a bunch of 3D printer plays possibly looking at too. They're starting to help out with mask and ventilators. I was looking at that in Benzinga yesterday. Why is this not connecting to Discord on this?
NBY, Nova Bay, shares popping again here, $1.04, hit a high of $1.25 earlier in the pre-market. November Bravo Yankee company out with a press release saying on their Avanova website that the availability of the KN95 disposable mask. That's November Bravo Yankee. Shares getting another move here on heavy volume NBY.
Yeah, we'll be looking for a bit of a reverse as we get up into that. So that's that line right there. So there's that 2480. It was a little bit higher than we were saying, but that's where we were expecting. So you guys can see right here. So 2480, not quite as far as we wanted. So there we go. I was going to say that doesn't sound right to me yet. So yeah, 2498 is that level, looking up into there. Probably not all the way up there. Actually, it was, what was it, 24? So like 24.95.50, yeah. So 24.95.50. That's where that would be the prime spot. But we'll see what she wants to do. Price is going to tell us. I mean, you can already see it's trying, but they're going to be pushing this up. We're still getting strong ticks. We're still rising on the ad decline. We're all the way up to 1752. Internals continuing to rising. Very very strong rise. Stocks are continuing to rise.
Mexico is
Man, Beyond is up 12.5% this morning. Wow.
with price guarantees.
BA, Boeing is up almost 19% now this morning. Oh my gosh, just absolutely, wow, this is incredible. Boeing is just ridiculous. So Boeing's so heavily weighted in the Dow, it's just gonna continue to pull the Dow up. So that's why I'm saying that sometimes the Dow it's not great to pay attention to as much as far as the overall market, because just one stock like that and Apple being up is literally going to just rip the Dow up. That's how we got up so high yesterday in the Dow compared to the other markets. Oh damn, Count's microphone or headphones are not working out. Let's see here. Can we get this damn voice channel to work in here now? Can you guys hear me? In Discord chat, Discord, can you guys? Is anybody else on? I see Apex, Hobbleton, Snorkel. So I can see when I'm talking, I'm turning green. So apparently you can hear my. Oh, everybody else has got their mics muted. What the hell? Well, anyway, I will leave this on from now on. So this will be something that we'll always have. So I'll have this set up, and I will obviously have to mess some with it because I'm actually running a different microphone through the podcast mixer. But so we'll always have the live audio feed, which I think I literally tested. I think it's like literally 1 second through Discord, and then obviously we'll always have the video and the feed from YouTube, which is, we had it set up and we had it fixed so the latency was only like, it was like literally like down to like 4 seconds to 6 seconds, which is absolutely amazing. Even paid services that do outside streaming, they're like literally like 14 to 17 seconds. So we had it working, but then this damn new YouTube streaming thing that they did, I hate it. And we were lucky, we were like literally one of the last channels, literally like out of like one of like the last like couple hundred channels that wasn't getting caught in it. But it's like a child's rights activist thing. It's ridiculous, but no, it's a whole new setup. I don't like the way it looks. It looks stupid. It's not as nearly as clean and simple. They say it's better. I absolutely disagree. And because of that, we're getting more latency on the YouTube. But it'll be all right. So it'll be something we can offer here. We'll be always live audio on the Discord. And then that eventually will turn anything will be just for you guys. And then obviously they'll have the latency and delay through YouTube. And I'm actually thinking about we're going to do a thing where it'll be about like half and half, so that like the Discord, you guys will always have 100% of us on here streaming live audio, and then on YouTube we'll actually have it where a lot of the stuff will only be like, it'll be like playing music instead, like background music a lot of the time, so that it's not like a paid service necessarily, but kind of similar. That's kind of the idea, so that it'll attract more of the people to come over there. And it's weird because it's mostly only ever you guys on the YouTube, but we've noticed a few people that are in there, and there's a couple of guys that for some reason, and they're actually trading and they're messaging me, but it's all through YouTube, and we cannot figure out why they won't come into our Discord. It's very strange. It doesn't make sense, because they've complained about like needing help, and we're like, we do way more help and way thorough ideas in Discord, so I don't really get it. But
Coming up at 10:30, crude and gasoline inventories.
so gasoline inventories come up at 10:30, guys. So that'll be a big number, especially with oil being down. And then, man, I don't know if you guys saw that I posted the other day in Discord about the, and I'm putting together like a whole little like slideshow thing that I want to post in there probably this weekend about gasoline futures versus oil versus Saudi Arabia. But then the news today, it really, really shook things up to me. It's really crazy to see. I did not expect them to indict for the Khashoggi murder. I mean, that hit me out of the blue. I thought that was long gone. I couldn't believe that this morning. That was absolutely insane. I'm a little bit worried about the timing of it, but like we were talking about, like Attic and I were talking about, you guys, like they're always going to find a way to get what they want. And with oil being down, they need to get it back up. Well, what's the best way? war. So it's a little bit coincidental to me. It's too much. And then Russia was playing this whole game with this whole oil fiasco with Saudi Arabia, but now Russia's been getting hit super hard with the COVID. So be interesting to see if they keep trying to play hardball or if they have to bend. Same with Iran. I mean, they basically thought that they were going to get away with all this shit, and like we literally straight up are just like, no offense, but no, like we're going to put sanctions on you. Trump did say, I think yesterday and the day before, that he was going to extend them like 60 days or something. But from everything I saw last night, it's him just playing nice until we got the stimulus package going. I think he's literally going to stick it to them. And I would expect to hear something by next week after all of this Senate vote and stuff happens. Huh. I wonder why the quality on the Discord isn't as clear as the YouTube one. Oh, I bet it's because of the microphone I'm using. Plus, I don't know if I think Discord they both compress. YouTube compresses horribly, but it's more video issues. I don't know if that's going to work. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it work. Sounds grainy. Yeah, I wonder if maybe... Let me see if I can mess with the levels here. Give me a minute here. Let's see here. Wait a minute. What the hell? What I don't want to do is have it through the speaker, because then it's going to be super loud. Give me a second, guys. Well, at least the market's doing what we said. Well, I figure this out. And I have a bunch of other stuff to show you guys this morning. I mean, there's a lot of news. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to look at. Like, so a lot of stuff like the mortgage rates, plays like XHB. I mean, there's so many things that are down right now. It's so hard to want to keep getting short on things. But I think what we're, it's kind of fading the rally type of plays. And that's what we're going to be looking for a lot of until we get, at least get over 25.55. That's kind of the magic number right now. Once we're over 25.55, things can kind of change. But until then, I'm still fading all these rallies continuously. And still buying the dip. I mean, buying the dip is still working. It is working. You've just got to buy the dip and get out a lot faster than before. Before, you could buy the dip and hold on to it and stay in it. Now you've got to buy the dip, be super not greedy, and get out quick. And then fading the rally, it's always going to be the same thing, because you're going to get that big drop and don't expect it to keep going. And it's the same thing. Like, who's buying when things are up 7-8%? That's insane. Like, get out. Don't hold on to those things. And it doesn't necessarily, that's the other problem, is a lot of people are looking at their P&L. It doesn't matter if you're up 200% or if you're up 500% and you think you're going to go up 7%. What is the product? What is the play? If you're up 100% but it's up 8%, you need to get out. If you're only up 30% but it's up 6%, you probably need to get out. Now, if it's only up 0.4% and you're up 200%, then yeah, maybe hold on for a little bit more. That's where you got to be more discerning. God, I cannot figure out how to make this clearer on here. And it sucks because I can't hear I can't hear me on Discord because it doesn't work that way.
CCL Carnival shares halted on a circuit breaker on the way down 1437. Charlie Lima.
Snarkle. Dude, you always crack me up. You always, literally always. Let me see here. Let me see if I can switch. I want to switch this. So we didn't get down to that 24.50. I was expecting them to try to drop it back into there and then bounce. We'll see if they hold on to that or not. Dude, I don't even know which one's which. Okay, is that any different when I use it straight through like this? I don't know if it sounds any different. Huh. Interesting. Really? So I think I know what it is. I think it's because when I have the two mics the way they were, I think I was getting bleeding and crossover. I'll just try to use it like this for now. We'll see what happens. Okay, well, shit. All right. If they're both clear, I'll leave it alone then for now, I guess. I'll figure it out more as we keep going and stuff like that too. Obviously, we'll get it figured out. So, nice, Willie. Nice trade, man. Hell yeah, dude. Dude, he's been having some good, nice trades, like good, solid base hits, guys, and that's what you want to see. So here we go, dropping in this. We'll see if they can either hold this 2450 or if they're going to break through. It's going to be important there. Great trade, man. So they're trying to break it. They're going to definitely be fighting this.
Now time to make efforts work. Bullard says Fed can do more if needed. Unclear what the next step would be. No issue right now with expanding Fed balance sheet. Bullard says the key now is to make government support efforts to work properly. Bullard says we will get back to normal at some point.
Man, Bullard has been talking so much this morning. I mean, it's good, but it's just like it's like everything they say, they've got to be realizing what people are waiting for. It's like, come on, like nobody cares about anything else. Just say nothing until we get to what we want to hear, basically. So they broke that 2450, and they're actually getting some decently strong ticks down here, guys. You can see the add decline line is coming down here. We're all the way down to 935. You can also see on my internals here, this is, oh, here, I'll blow it up a little bit. I'll zoom in a little bit more. So as this is starting to hit the zero line, that's when it starts to turn blue like that. You can see all these rounding out. So this is starting to get pretty bearish. Now, honestly, I would expect this. They would probably try to hit the algos at some point when they're going to come out with this. I am still seeing apps, and I pay for services for news and stuff too. I have like 4 different things I use. I'm literally seeing absolutely nothing, nobody talking about it. I also think that yesterday with everything, it would have been somewhat priced in already. So that's the other thing. It would have to be, but it doesn't even matter necessarily what a trader thinks. It could trip the algos, and especially with everything being 100% electronic now, that is a realistic thing we have to kind of keep in mind going forward right now.
S&P futures now coming back here, 2441.
Nice, Jacob playing that UNH. That's all. It's been such a good play lately. Yeah, Boeing's fading down. I mean, that's pretty expected being up as much as it is. I mean, that's almost a play that, I mean, it's been really strong and it's moving up. I wouldn't necessarily hold on to it or swing it, but there's definitely day trades in there to go short once they're up that high, especially opening up that high. So we break this 24.28, we're going to go cruising down. And if we break the lows of pre-market here, which is this, I think it's 23.87. Yeah, that's when things get really ugly. But we'll see here. St. Louis Fed President Bullard says doesn't see issue with Fed expanding its balance sheet. Yep, just keep throwing money at it, see what happens. They're literally going right back to making the problem even worse that got us here. It's like they all think this is 100% from the virus. This is absolutely not. This was already the problem before, and this is just what tipped us over, and it's going to get worse. Man, what a weird divergence with SPY and ES. That's why we always are telling you guys, you got to watch ES. Don't worry about SPY. Play SPY, but watch ES. There's so many reasons why, especially when they start paying out the dividend. Yeah, we're coming right back into that line again here. I don't know why I keep opening that up the ugly way. Look at that nasty 30-minute candle. That is so bearish. Talk about a freaking inverted hammer. Damn. I wanted to look at that low. Actually, I do. I want to see what the low is from yesterday. So 2230. That's so far down there. That's so crazy. God, these ranges are absurd, you guys. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm looking at 4 different things here, thinking out loud. So you can see all the FANG stocks starting to turn down. Facebook's all the way down 3% now in the red. Apple down to 1.6%. Amazon's down 1%. Netflix now down 1.5%. So went up from 1% down to 1.5%. This is getting kind of crazy here. Google is down 2.25%, which is $25. Dang. Microsoft is just kind of flopping back and forth between red and green. It was all the way up to 154.90. Now it's all the way down to 148.50. So, yeah, not looking too great there. So you guys can see, I mean, you guys can't tell us that these Celts don't work. I mean, look at that on Boeing. I mean, absolutely up super huge. And look, it literally railed right into the top Celt and immediately rejected. So what'll be interesting to see is if it can push all the way down to this middle Celt. I would actually look to maybe get long on the bounce, and my stop would be if it breaks that middle Celt. So that's how you can risk so little for a possible good play. So you've got this little bit of a risk. You risk about 2 points is all, because you literally wait for it to bounce off of that middle Celt, and if it can't hold that, you get out. Now, obviously, it's hard when you have limited day trades. I understand, but I just want you guys. That's learning the mechanics of it. This is why you paper trade stuff like that. Same thing with Roku right now. See how it's testing this upper Celt? If it can hold this, and especially when we get to that second 4-hour candle, even though it's down 5%, it's still holding on to this upper Celt. That's the play. This doesn't matter. This is what I'm trying to get across to you guys a lot lately, is that who cares about that? That's actually a good thing, because it needs to rest. I mean, look at this thing. It's just been on an absolutely beautiful rip up here. It needs to consolidate for that next leg up. So that's what you do. On bullish moves up, on trends up, you wait for pullbacks to get long, and then it goes. So what I would say, as long as it holds this level and can continue to hold this, there's no reason that you wouldn't think that this thing is going to consolidate and then move back up. So I would definitely keep a huge eye on Roku, guys, on the 4-hour chart with the upper Celt. If it can hold on to that beautiful uptrend that it's in on this beautiful pullback, this could be an absolutely epic play on Roku. And this is something that you get a little duration on. So you watch and wait and see. And if it holds on to this is something you go into like at least a week or two out. But this could be an absolutely beautiful play if it holds on to this upper Celt today, guys. And I will go over this probably several more times today, because I think this is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful possible play here. It's been in an uptrend. It's pulling back and consolidating for that next leg up. Remember, guys, waves. Nothing goes straight up. Nothing goes straight down. And if it does, there's more of a probability that it's going to fall apart in reverse. This is what you got to be looking for. This is an A+ setup right here, guys. This is an A+ setup. Now, the market not helping so much. The good thing is that Roku has two really good things going for it right now, fundamental-wise, in this market. Number one, it is being used a lot right now during the lockdown, so there's kind of that sentiment going with it. And number two, it's a momentum trade, and it doesn't necessarily need the market. It doesn't necessarily need the market to move like it needs to. You don't change Celts. The only thing you do is you absolutely need to make sure that extended hours are off, except for on futures. Futures, they need to be on. And on regular equities, extended hours need to be off, and leave them on standard Celt levels. There's a huge mathematical reason. I could get into it with exponentials and how it actually works. It does not matter other than just leave them be. Seeing it starting to break it down. But again, that's fine for right now, as long as it holds on to it and it opens that second 4-hour candle up. This would be something that we would continue to watch. And there's another play as it moves down into there too. I'm just saying.
Charlie Victor Sandy. CBS Caremark working to implement measures to balance interest in off-label use of some drugs to treat COVID-19 with needs of members who use drugs for chronic conditions.
Guys, it's crazy. I'm actually starting to have friends that are getting sick. I know somebody now, a doctor, who lost one of their friends yesterday, just starting to get very, very real. Wow, ADSPD, which is the ad decline specifically for the S&Ps, is all the way down negative 153 now. Holy crap. That thing got ugly quick. And this is dropping fast. I mean, we're clear down to 371, you guys, and we opened up at like 12 something? Or no, we were up at like 16. I mean,
GOOS, Canada Goose, dedicates manufacturing resources and fight against COVID-19. That's
yeah, like 1764 all the way down to 364. This is super, super bearish. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, man. I mean, you guys are all gonna hear about it. Oh, Jacob. Speaking of which, what happened with the tsunami thing, dude?
SRNE Sorrento launches novel
I was trying to watch some of that last night. And they just weren't reporting much on it.
Sandy Romeo November
Freaked me out.
Sorrento.
Oh, okay, good. Did it get all stormy though? Yeah, Song Shadow's right. These nasty looking 15-minute candles. I mean, the 5 minutes, it's they kind of don't look as bad, but then you look at the 15-minute or the 30 minutes look horrible. I mean, you guys just saw that when I was showing you. I mean, look at that nasty little. Oh, crazy, man. Well, I'm glad, because that would have. Could you imagine? That would have been the last thing you guys needed. Like, so that's how it always happens when it rains, it pours, kind of thing, right? Like, God.
Against SARS-CoV-2.
Russia reduces gas flows amid demand shock in Europe. Good. Cut it off. As much as I hate how they manipulate gas, they need to right now. St. Louis Fed Pres Bullard says perhaps 46 million people at risk of layoffs that have high contact with public. So, like service jobs. Holy shit. 46 million? That's insane.
S&P futures now down 27. The Dow futures down 59. NASDAQ down 120. Crude down 57 cents. Gold down $22.90.
Yeah, and I know I saw that they were talking about the jobs number, and I actually understand this. What Trump was saying, that it was trying to get the states to kind of lay off a little bit, to try to spread them out, because like even that, it's like, yeah, it needs to be somewhat realistic, but it's not necessarily. The thing is like this week probably be crazy, but next week I think is going to be insane, because a lot of them wouldn't have done it until this week, and so it won't be in there yet. Like, I mean, unless they would have already, I think, what is it, through Monday or Tuesday? I can't remember how it works, but it's not like to the minute or to the day. It like takes a couple days. So it would have been for like last week, right? It's why we're like getting numbers still from like January on some of the stuff, which it's always so weird to me, but it's always annoying, because like you like think it's funny, because like you're having to live in the future with like volatility products like the VIX, which is like 2, 3, 6 months ahead, right? And looking at futures, which is like 2, 3 months ahead. And then you're like looking behind with numbers that come out from like 2, 3 months ago. It's just so weird. It's like nothing ever really matters right in the moment except for price. It's just so hard to get in your head sometimes. God, Spy literally looks like a little kid's water slide. It's like green steps up and slide down. Yep, I did, Sparty. I don't know if Spartacus can even hear me. So weird having you guys all home from work. Like, you guys can actually all be trading, and like, this is how it should be in Puerto Rico. Cough, cough. Wink, wink. You guys think we're joking, but like we're not even joking at all, actually. Like literally. Like I seriously was looking at stuff in like California, but then like Addict doesn't want to live there anymore, really, for a lot of good reasons. And then the whole tax haven thing and I mean, there's so many reasons that Puerto Rico is just amazing. And it's really, really amazing if you just have a little bit of money. That's the cool thing. I've been there quite a few times. I know, I like Hawaii too, man, but it's way too expensive. Like the difference is it's astronomical. It's literally like live in Hawaii, and it's beautiful and it's awesome, but like be paying taxes out the ass and like having the same actual bad issues. But then Puerto Rico, literally, we're talking about like thousands and thousands of dollars difference. I don't know if you've been to Puerto Rico either. I think you being from Hawaii would probably be like, oh yeah, this is like like home. The only difference, the biggest con to me is the weather compared, because actually obviously not a fan of hurricanes. However, you did have a tsunami warning last night. Sexy Latinas. That's for damn sure too, dude. Puerto Rican girls. Fuck. But Puerto Rican mamas are scary. And Puerto Rican daddies are real scary. All right, let's see here what's going on. Things are kind of stalling out here. Volume is really, really low today, and I think a lot of people are probably waiting. I think they're absolutely waiting. There is really low volume. Not a lot of contracts being bought up. Let's actually take a look. Those exact numbers here. Where the hell did that go? So I know you guys probably get annoyed to hear me do it. So, Market Watch tab. Change visualization to index watch. Change your watch list. And this is cool because you can also do it for all of your, you can do it for your account. You can do it for your watch list, blah, blah, blah. But you know the one that I'm always talking about, we go ahead and use is the S&P 100. Yeah, and you can see the volume is super, super low. Capital isn't that bad for the numbers, but it's pretty damn low. And Boeing is pretty much the only thing really, really holding this up here. And Nike. And Nike is up pretty strong on earnings. It is up 10%. It actually beat earnings. Their outlook wasn't super great, but they're actually seeing better outlook than they're expecting because can't remember the way they word it. Basically, that the competition is really, the competition is much worse shape than they are. So that's another reason Nike's earnings are up so hard. Ford also up pretty good today, which is weird because they cut their dividend, and I actually thought after cutting that dividend they were going to be down a lot worse. Yeah, Target was in for movers pre-market. Forgot to bring it up earlier. Sorry, they are down 8%, and the reason being is because they already came out and significantly cut their guidance. Which we're just going to see more and more of them. So that's the other reason Walmart's probably falling down like it is, because pretty much Target and Walmart, you can almost trade those as a pair. But yeah, so there's definitely, something to be watching there. So what I would say is what we could do with that information. So now that we know that Target is already lowered their guidance, Walmart's kind of falling with that. So yes, some of the other ones are going to have that priced into them as well. But what we do is we start to look for something similar that hasn't started to fall. So I would kind of look towards more retail names, and we start to kind of scour the market for some retail names that are still up. And sometimes that's a good thing because they're holding their relative strength. But what we're looking for is something that they haven't caught yet that's going to be lowering guidance. So a lot of these are going to start lowering guidance, guys. We're going to be hearing about it all the time. So what I'm saying is we start looking for something that hasn't really come down as much yet, in a similar correlation as like Target, Walmart, and then you get into like more of the retailers, but they're more of like a staple type of thing. Even though we know that they're not necessarily, it's kind of like Walmart. I mean, they're kind of everything, and I'm not going to find it this way. I'm just kind of looking. I actually can show you guys how I do that. It might actually be a good thing to show you guys how to do. Yeah, maybe I'll show you guys how to do that later today. Is how we use sucks, because like on Benzinga Pro and on Teletrader, they actually have like super sophisticated algorithms to like find to go in and find each kind of play. to find correlated stocks. But Thinkorswim does too. It's just not as simple. I used to use it a lot, obviously, before I had any of the paid ones. So I will have to look at it but I'll do it today, and I'll do it in real time, and I'll show you guys. I can walk, and I'll show you guys how to use it and exactly what I'm talking about to find correlated plays. Because like obviously it's more, a lot of people, like when they're trading more like penny stocks and stuff, they'll use more of they need to have like they'll use the searches and the and like trade ideas and stuff. But like Thinkorswim, there's actually really, really nice stuff to use for what I'm talking about, where you're trying to find correlated moves. Wait a minute.
Spike in volume, getting a pop to the high, $3.13. Lima India Foxtrot Echo.
Yeah, I'll have to pull up later. So we have to go into the scanner, and then I remember how to do it now. Yeah, not going to South America. You guys are crazy. So I don't expect this fade to go too much down here. I believe, what was that low I was calling? Oh, I forgot already. Was it 23? Was it 86.50? Is that what I said?
Senate to recess until April 20th after the stimulus vote. That from CNBC.
Yeah, 86.50. It's just there is absolutely no volume, so this thing is gonna flip flop in any which way because there's not a lot to pull it around. I mean, we hit a low of 189 in the ad decline already, super low. We're actually already below the zero line in our breadth indicator, so this is quite bearish already, actually, guys. So, but this is where they would like to come out with something, flip the algos, and rip all these. So now they expect everybody to start getting short, and then they'll pull that rug out and rip it up. That's how they like to do it, right? So that's what we got to keep an eye out on. Yeah, because it's already moving into these, and I'm watching a lot of volume picking up in the SPX and SPY and the options chain. That's what I'm watching here. That's why I watch them in real time. And I know Snorkel was starting to do that, and that's great. You guys got to get. That's a really great indicator to use as well as using the options chain as an indicator. Nice, Ryan, making some moves. Good, good, good.
ASTC, Astrotech Corp, after resuming trade, spikes near 620, 624 now. Alpha Sandy Tango Charlie.
Senate won't recess until April 20th after the stimulus vote. So after they vote, they will not recess again until April 20th. Wow. 420. Ha ha ha. Where's Attic? We need his third eye on that. There's something there. I know it.
COVID-19, coronavirus, and pneumonia. That's Sandy Tango Charlie.
Why is that?
ASTC shares spiking to the highs. Up. Shares halted at the high on a circuit breaker. ASTC.
I'm trying to read this thing about USO, about oil, and it's confusing me. I've read it 3 times, and I'm... What the hell? Independent Energy Research, Intelligence Co. Rystad Energy sees global oil demand down 16 million barrels per day in April by 4.9 million barrels per day in 2020. I hate the way they when they tried to like smash everything together under certain characters. Fucking annoying.
Inventories have built up 2.774 million. Gasoline inventories have dropped 657.
So yeah, gasoline inventory is coming up here in about 15, not even 15 minutes, like 12 minutes.
That's coming up at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm sure they're trying to work out some of these stipulations in the bill. That's what I spent. I'm sure none of you probably were really paying attention or necessarily up this morning. So it was like, God, what time was I up? It was like 5, I think. Yeah, 5 market time, and I was reading through it over and over because like I wanted to really get it in my head. But the problem is that like half of it was like concrete and half of it was like you could tell that they were biased on it, but nobody wanted to be guilty of not signing it, so they were literally getting some of the stuff they were sneaking in there. It was just the reversions from last night. They were there late. I'll give them that. They actually worked for once. And they actually had, it was crazy the stuff they were trying to sneak in. And that's what took so long. And it pisses me off because all these people, not necessarily that it would have been waited any longer necessarily, but it was stressing people out that are, people that are literally have to pay their rent, that are literally having to buy food. And it's like, they were just stressing them out by doing that. And it just pisses me off. And it was literally over nothing, like stupid shit. They were trying to stuff in there about immigration, and they were trying to stuff in there. Yeah, there was like some stuff about guns, and like it was just ridiculous. I mean, all the stuff about the airliners and the bailouts, and like, yeah, that's what matters. Which those things so far, from what I see, if that's what goes through, I'm going to be very happy with it because basically they're making sure that executives cannot take. Like the bailouts, you cannot buy back stock for a certain amount of time. They cannot have raises. They have to actually cut corporate wages by certain amounts, and et cetera, et cetera. However, once again, the one time they get a chance to tell them no, screw you, is that to up the taxation on corporations, and they don't do it, and they won't do it because they want their money for their own political benefit. And it's absolutely bullshit. The one time they had a chance to do it, and they just completely like, well, no, we can't do that. And then the same thing with the banks. The banks are literally there, so all the money is basically going to the bank. So everyone has to get a loan through the bank. It's through the bank who has control over it, because they don't want there to be any. They don't want to overwhelm the system with the website or with the federal and state program, so they're going to go through the bank. So the bank essentially is getting all the power and all the money they want, all the fake monopoly money, and they get to decide who gets it and who to give it to. It's ridiculous. Which the only good thing is we might be able to see that turn on them and get a big fat fail, and then that'll really wake them up. But this was not the answer. This is absolutely the wrong thing they're doing. Yeah, Jacob, that's one of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. DT's right. And the abortion thing. Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Like, what? Totally forgot about that one.
TTOO, Tango, Oscar, getting up.
Jacob. Yeah, dude, eventually you get used to it to the point where, like, you almost like it. Like, I actually enjoy, like, I actually enjoy reading SEC filings. I enjoy reading the press releases. I enjoy watching the wires. Like, it's weird. Like, not always, I'm not going to lie. I love going through the key data and the quotes and, like, through the analyst stuff. And, like, a lot of it does not matter, but I like to know and it makes me feel better knowing,
ASTC.
just because every once in a while, like 1 out of 200 times, it'll come in handy. But that one time, it can make a difference. Man, the Russell is just not holding up again. It was starting to do better the last week, and it's diverging again from the rest of the markets. It's pulling away. I just don't think those are so speculative, plays and penny stocks, and people are not wanting to play, not because guys that are just day trading them, that's really not as much money and as much volume as people think. It's absolutely nothing, honestly. Nobody's wanting to speculate right now. Nobody's wanting to put their money in a bunch of crap stocks that are literally crap companies. So that's where we're going to see a lot of harsh falling out is going to be penny stocks, and a lot of those traders are going to have a really hard time because it's going to be difficult as people get away. They're not going to want, those aren't havens. Those are not safe. People are going to want to put their money into good debt-free companies. That is the complete opposite of 99.9999% of those stocks. The thing is there's penny stocks like that price that are fantastic companies that are literally only on, between $5 and $20 a share. So ad decline starting to climb back up here again, as with price, and you can see we're getting some strong ticks again. Nothing other than low volume kind of pushing it around. There's really nothing else going on right now, so that's why we're kind of seeing this kind of droll here. I mean, we're getting into hour one. We have that number coming out in about 8 minutes here, so that might move a little bit, but. Yeah, big divergence on the markets for sure. Speaking of which, so the VIX is still in the green here. It is up 2.29%. XLP is starting to make a comeback as XLF is falling down. Oil continuing to fall. Damn, hit a low at 22.91, sitting at 23.12, which is down 3.71%. Ouch. NASI is down 1.4%, while we're sitting around about 0.8%. SPY is still in the green, 0.14. Gold is down 1.1%. Bonds and 10 years are starting to push up into the green, so we're still getting, even with price pushing up, the bonds and 10 years are pushing up, so there's a slight price divergence there. You can see that Facebook is all the way down almost 4%. Apple back in the green just barely here, though, 0.16%. Amazon down 1.6%. Netflix 1.3%, but trying to get back up here right now. Google down 3.69%, kind of falling apart continuously. Volume really going down on all of these FANG stocks. Microsoft down 1.2%, but trying to bid back up as well. Boeing has come back a little bit from the lows of the day, but it's still down a little bit off of that high. It is still up about just under 15%. Roku holding up beautifully on that upper Celt on the 4 hour. So again, guys, there is a possibly beautiful swing play coming in Roku. Keep your eyes on that. I really think it's going to be able to hold up despite anything the market does, and there could be a beautiful play, going Roku into next week and the week after possibly. I'm thinking more into next week, but like and I will probably be getting into it on this depending on how it holds up today. But if it continues to hold up that 4 hour this afternoon, I would definitely look at next week's expiration. So even though that's a lot sooner than normally I would get in these market conditions, I really don't see a reason to. There's no way I'm going to want to hold it for longer than a couple days. Literally, I want to swing that for maybe 2 to 3 days at the most. Activision is up just about 0.5%. Shopify holding on to some of its gains, but obviously down from the high of 459.82 down at 442. So it's sitting up about 2.8%. Nvidia is losing. It has broken through the upper Celt, and it also blew through that really important price level of 247.95. So it is down 0.7% now. Tesla is still green at 523.41, which is 3.4%. But it's got a lot of resistance there. It's got the 30 MA and the upper Celt there, so it really needs to get back up there to close. I still would think that it'd be all right as long as it stays above those two yellow lines you see there. Those are absolutely critical. Because as soon as it loses those, you can see how bearish it gets real quick. But I mean, they're still, Tesla's holding up quite well. They did have some news. I forgot to talk about it. About they signed with a deal with some German company to help move forward on that Germany factory. So that'll be something that'll be kind of important for them to watch in the next couple weeks. Bobel's still holding up here, holding on to that middle Celt. It is up 1.2%. Bidu is now in the red. A lot of resistance there that it could not break above, which is also similar. The 30 MA and upper Celt bounced right off of that. As long as it holds on to this middle Celt, there might be a nice bounce play in between that zone, but it's really hard. I don't play a lot of the times in the middle of the Celts. I like to play them at their extremes. There's actually another play indicator that I probably should show you guys that I use a lot to do that, where I play from bottom to top, and it's actually coincides with the Celts almost directly. It's kind of crazy, actually. It's something that Theo Trade uses a lot too, and it's very, very accurate. AMD is down off the highs, sitting down just 17 cents off of the green here. Qualcomm continuing to fall apart here. It did break through the 14 MA, so would not be surprised if that thing just starts continuing to fall down here. It's been some straight across action, but it really, really is starting to look more and more bearish to me. I mean, that'd be a decent trade from that 62 to 57 level. Disney is down 1.3% here. Blew through that 30 MA as any kind of support. It needs to hold on to that middle Celt at least. And McDonald's is barely in the green by 5 cents, but holding on to that middle Celt on the 4 hour as well. So yeah, you can kind of see everything is just kind of flattening out here. Possibly get that trend reversal here at the as the European close is coming up. Unemployment websites crashing. Oh my God. Can you imagine what those numbers are going to be tomorrow and next week? Oh no. I didn't see the whole thing, but that's what's happening. A bunch of the unemployment websites for certain states and federal are crashing. Oh my God. Oh no. That's insane. I imagine they have quite the servers. Like, that's not good. Ay. Canadian stocks are doing the same thing. They're actually whipsawing even worse than ours. So that number should be coming out here in just about a minute, less than a minute. No, yeah. Tesla, Wayfair, and other profitable short trades could get a short covering boost. Oh, yeah? What? So, word on the wire is that they are looking at Tesla for a possible short squeeze incoming if price continues to rise. Because of the short interest, it's starting to really build up again. People won't learn, man. Those short squeezes in Tesla are unbelievable. So that came a little bit early. I was hoping to see this weight on my time. I like timing to add up better. You can see those strong ticks coming in. I was hoping to get to 10:30 for the EU close. You can see it starts at 10:25, so that's really where it started to push up. But it was already starting down here, but it wasn't. So that's that low. I wanted to see this get a little bit lower and hold a little bit longer. So I wanted to see this continue to fall and then get long. That's where that's that A++ setup. This is like an A setup here, but I was looking for like that A++ setup, so I hesitated. So again, though, that's why you're waiting for your trade to come to you. It's just, yeah.
STZ, Constellation Brands, Mexico's president, says government to review how permit
and sometimes you'll miss them, but
brands for brewery, said suggest there was corruption. That's Sandy Tango Zulu.
in a situation where they can
of this legislation. But just in the past few minutes, we did get some details from Senator Marco Rubio's office
just a second. Been trying to find that stupid thing and I got it here now, so we'll see here. We'll wait a minute. Jeez, man, those Italian death tolls are just gnarly. Coronavirus. London City Airport says suspension of flights to last until the end of April. So they just keep pushing stuff out farther and farther, it seems. Alright, what's going on with these? Oh, okay. Andrew Kumo starting. Let's see here. Hold on, guys. It's going to be hard to hear on Discord.
says we still have new cases going up. It says number of infections, about 80%
About
are
15%
self-resolved.
of the
15%
people who
require
test
hospitalization.
positive require hospitalization. And then there are degrees of hospitalization, right? But the total universe that requires hospitalization is 15%. We use projection models. We have Cornell Weill, which is a great medical institution that does projection models. We use McKinsey that does projection models. Department of Health does projection models. The projection models are important because they are projecting the possible trajectory and projecting the possible need, right? So we're planning for a need. The projection models do that. The projection
It's going to be
models
hard for you guys
are
to
just
hear on
that.
Discord.
They are
In fact,
models
almost
of
impossible.
projections. They're not necessarily definitive, but it's the only device that we have to plan.
Yeah, you guys have to. You guys can hear it on YouTube, but not on Discord.
The actual hospitalizations have moved at a higher rate than the projected models, than all the projected models. So that was obviously concerning because that higher infection rate means faster, higher capacity on the hospitals, and that's
Ryan, I don't know.
the number of people going to hospitals. Right now,
He hasn't
we're
said
looking
yet.
at is about 140,000 cases coming into the hospitals.
Okay, so now they changed the WHO to 11:30 a.m.
We're looking at about 40,000.
So they're trying to
ICU
stagger all of
cases
them.
coming into the hospitals. We have about 3,000 ICU beds. That's a challenge. What is an ICU bed for these purposes? Basically a bed with a ventilator. The ventilator is the most critical piece of equipment for an intensive care unit bed because this is a respiratory illness and people need more ventilation than usual. What do we want to do? Reduce the number of cases coming into the hospitals, slow the number of cases coming into the hospitals.
Ventilator. I know the way he talks. That's funny, dude.
Flatten the curve, flatten the curve, flatten the curve. Slow the number of people coming into hospitals so we can deal with them in the hospitals. And we are working on that. At the same time, increase your hospital capacity, right? So try to slow the number of cases coming into the hospital, meanwhile, raise your hospital capacity. We are working on both simultaneously. We have been from day one. Reduce the number of cases coming in, flatten the curve, slow the spread of the infection. We are doing everything we can on that. That's banning non-essential workers, that's social distancing, that's closing restaurants, closing gyms, just flatten the curve, slow the infection rate. One issue we had was in New York City where we had a higher level of density than we wanted.
Yeah, I agree, Spartacus. Like
Parks,
pulling
especially
people wherever
with
they
young
can.
people. I've been as direct as I can and as blunt as I can on young people and the misinformation that they have. You can catch the coronavirus. You may think you are a superhero. You're really not. You can catch it, and you can transfer it, which makes you dangerous to the people who you love. But the New York City parks have been a problem. I saw the problem myself firsthand. I spoke to Mayor de Blasio. I spoke to Speaker Johnson. We said come up with a plan in 24 hours that everybody agreed with. They came up with a plan. We're now implementing that plan. I signed off on that plan. The plan is going to pilot closing streets in New York City because we have much less traffic in New York City. We have many fewer vehicles in New York City. Open streets. People want to walk. They want to go out and get some air. You want a less dense area. So pilot closing streets to cars, opening streets to pedestrians. We'll also enact mandatory playground social density, which is probably a new concept. No close contact sports in a playground. No basketball, for example. you cannot do it. We're asking people to do that on a voluntary basis. If there is non-compliance with that, we will then make it mandatory and we will actually close the playgrounds. We don't want to do that because playgrounds are a place to go out and get open air, but you have to exercise social density even in a playground. And again, it's voluntary. The mayor is going to make it clear that this is important to the people of the city. If it doesn't happen, we will actually close down the playgrounds. I don't want to do that, but we do need to reduce the spread of the infection, and that is what is most important. This is very interesting because the evidence suggests that the density control measures may be working. And again, we're doing this from projections. But look at this because it's interesting. This past Sunday, the projection was that hospitalizations were doubling every 2 days, okay? On Monday, the numbers suggested that the hospitalizations were doubling every 3.4 days. On Tuesday, the projection suggested that the hospitalizations were doubling every 4.7 days. Now, that is almost too good to be true, but the theory is, given the density that we're dealing with, it spreads very quickly, but if you reduce the density, you can reduce the spread very quickly. So, these projections, I've watched them bounce all over the place, and I don't place a great deal of stock in any one projection. All due respect to all the great academics and statisticians who are doing it. But this is a very good sign and a positive sign. Again, I'm not 100% sure it holds or it's accurate, but the arrows are headed in the right direction, and that is always better than the arrows headed in the wrong direction. So to the extent people say, boy, these are burdensome requirements, social distancing, no restaurants, no non-essential workers, yes, they are burdensome. By the way, they are effective, necessary, and the evidence suggests at this point that they have slowed the hospitalizations. And this is
you son of a bitch.
slowing the hospitalization rates coming into the
I hate when it does this.
everything
Oh,
so
it's
hospitals can deal
giving me
with
shitty
the rate of
fills.
people coming in. At the same time, increased hospital
I literally
capacity.
canceled it and it sold it from under me.
What is the high point? You see that line in the beginning? What we're studying is what is the high point of that line? What is the apex of that line? That is the point of the greatest number of people coming into the hospital system. So that's our greatest load, is the apex. And when is that going to happen? Again, that is a projection. Again, that moves around. But the current projection is that could be in 21 days. So ramp up the hospital capacity to be able to handle that apex volume. How do you ramp up hospital capacity? You ramp up beds, you ramp up staff, and you ramp up the equipment. And the ventilators are the problem in equipment, as we've discussed many times. Where are we on that? Beds. We may need 140,000. We have 53,000. That's the existing capacity of hospitals. We told all hospitals they have to increase their capacity by 50%. I told them that myself on a conference call yesterday. This is a burden for the hospitals to now say you have to increase capacity 50%, but I have to tell you, they were very generous about it, and they understood what we were dealing with. And they were eager to step up to the plate. If you increase hospital capacity by 50%, that gets you 27,000 beds. On top of the existing, it takes you to 80. Some hospitals, I asked as a goal, try to increase by 100% your capacity. 50% was the minimum. The goal was 100. I believe some hospitals will actually try to do that. And I encourage them to try to do that, as impossible as it sounds. But now is the time to be aggressive and do things you've never done before. If Some of them do that, and I believe some of them will. That would be additional 5,000 beds. We get to 85,000 beds. FEMA, Army Corps of Engineers, what we're doing in Javits Center, what we're doing in the Westchester Convention Center, Westbury campus, Stony Brook campus, that's another 4,000, takes us to 89,000. The U.S. Navy ship Comfort, the President dispatched, that would be 1,000 beds to backfill from hotels, that takes you to 90,000. If we take all the state dormitories in downstate New York, that could get us an additional 29,000 beds. We'd be at 119,000 beds. You're still not at the 140 that you need, but then we're looking at hotels, we're looking at former nursing homes, converting other facilities to make up the differential. So a lot, creative, aggressive, but in life, you do what you have to do. And that's what we're doing on the bed capacity. Protective equipment, we have been shopping around the world. We have a whole team that's doing it. Right now, we have enough protective equipment, gloves, masks, gowns, for all the hospitals statewide that are dealing with it. I put down a shipment to New York City yesterday. Today, no hospital, no nurse, no doctor can say legitimately, I don't have protective equipment. Right now, and for the foreseeable future, we have a supply. We do not yet have secured a supply for 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, but we are still shopping. And taking care of this immediate need was also good news and a good job by the team. And again, we are still shopping for more equipment. Ventilators, ventilators, ventilators. We need 30,000. We have, in the existing hospital system, 4,000 ventilators. This is just in the normal operation of hospitals, et cetera. We have purchased 7,000, and we are still shopping. Federal government has sent 4,000. We're exploring splitting, where one ventilator could do 2 patients. Italy has had to do this because they were forced to do it. I want to see if we can study it and do it a little smarter and have a little more time experimenting with it, but we're looking at splitting the ventilators. We're still working with the federal government to try to find more ventilators, but that is our single greatest challenge, are the ventilators. Again, the ICU beds, that really means a ventilated bed. Because again, this is the #1 piece of equipment that we need. You have beds, you have equipment, you need staff, and you need staff understanding that some staff is going to get sick and they're going to be out. So we have been working on putting together a surge healthcare force. Go back to the retirees, go back to nurses and doctors who may not be in the hospital, direct medical care, occupation, and ask them to sign up for possible reserve duty. God bless them, 40,000 people have signed up as a surge healthcare force. 2,000 physicians, anesthesiologists, emergency room technicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, nurse anesthetists, respiratory, RNs, LPNs. 40,000 people have signed up. That's a big, big deal, because you can create beds, you can find the equipment, you have to have the staff. And you have to have the staff for those additional beds, which are not now in the hospital system. And you have to have staff when the existing staff gets ill. Or, by the way, just can't work the hours that we're going to need people to be working. So that's very good. This is also very exciting. I don't know that anyone else has done this. We've talked about the emotional stress that this brings on people, and the mental health stress and the mental health challenges. No one's really talking about this. You know, we're all concerned about the immediate critical need, the life and death of the immediate situation, which is right. But don't underestimate the emotional trauma that people are feeling and the emotional health issues. We asked for mental health professionals to voluntarily sign up to provide online mental health services. 6,000 mental health professionals agreed to volunteer to provide mental health services for people who need it. How beautiful is that? And the hotline, 1-844-863-9314. You can call that hotline. You can schedule an appointment with a mental health professional, totally free, to talk to them about what you're feeling and what stress you're feeling. And again, God bless the 6,000 mental health professionals who are doing this 100% free, on top of whatever they have to do in their normal practice. And I'm sure in their normal practice, they're busy. So this is really an extraordinary step by them. Federal government, I spoke with President Trump several times. I spoke with him last night. I spoke with him this morning. I've spoken to people in the White House who are handling these operations. I've spoken with the Vice President. I've spoken with Jared Kushner, who is a New Yorker. He knows New York, and he's working in the White House, and he's been extraordinarily helpful on all of these situations. What we're working on is a common challenge. No one has these ventilators, and no one ever anticipated a situation where you would need this number of ventilators to deal with a public health emergency. So we have purchased everything that can be purchased. We're now in a situation that we're trying to accelerate production of these ventilators, and a ventilator is a complicated piece of equipment. The president and his team, I think, are using the DPA well, because it's basically a leverage tool when you're dealing with private companies, right? We need your help, we can demand your help, or you could agree to help, and we need you to step up and increase production. Even with that, there's a ramp-up time for a company to put together the supply chain, put together the workforce, and get these things up and running. So Ford, you hear, is going to help. General Motors is going to help. The problem is our timeline is so short. We're looking at an apex 21 days, in that range. To get ventilators and these business consortiums put together, supply chain, design team, ramped up, and delivered 30,000 ventilators is an extraordinarily difficult task. And it's something that our team is working on with the White House team. And I want to thank the President for his cooperation, and his team for their cooperation. We're getting very creative. We're talking to countries around the world, as well as new companies that could do production. We're also talking to the White House about another concept. New York has the greatest need in terms of numbers. New York also has the most critical need in terms of timing, right? We talk about our apex, we talk about that curve. Different localities, different regions around the country are going to have different curves. We are in some ways first. Our case numbers went up first. Our trajectory is first by a long shot. Different regions will have their curve at different times. What I said to the President and his team was, look, rather than saying we have to provide equipment for the entire country at one time, let's talk about addressing the critical need in that hot spot. Once that hot spot turns, because you have an apex and then you have a curve, and the curve is relatively short, once you address that hot spot with that intensity, intense equipment, intense personnel, then shift to the next hot spot. and have more of a rolling deployment across the country than a static deployment, right? I was in the federal government at HUD. I worked on dozens of disasters. You deal with the disaster in front of you at that time, and then you move on to the next disaster. And I think that rolling deployment could work here, and on behalf of New York, I said we will be 100% helpful. We need help from the entire country right now. We need resources from the entire country right now. And because our apex is...
Dude, he
first,
literally has
our
said
numbers
apex
are
like 10
highest.
times. And
But
it's
the
funny because, like, yes, I know what he's meaning, but, like, it's
high
cracking
point
me up
will be
because talking to
sequential
Apex, and
across the
why is he
country.
saying it so much?
So I said to the White House, send us the equipment that we need.
Damn, Willie's
Send
killing
us
it,
the
son.
personnel. As soon as we get past our critical moment, we will redeploy that equipment and personnel to the next hotspot. And I will
For
personally
shame.
guarantee it and personally manage it. So if you send us 15,000 ventilators, and then after our curve, Los Angeles needs 15,000 ventilators, we can take the equipment from here. We can take
Yeah,
the
man, that's a
personnel
part of the
from
game,
here. We
dude.
can
Hell
take the
yeah.
lessons
Gotta do
from
it.
here. You know, we go first. We're going to learn.
It's I think
that
it's harder
nobody else
to be
has
good at
learned,
trading is
because we're gonna be the first
to
ones
know when is to cut losses quick
I
and not hold on to them, because
personally
everybody holds on like thinking, oh, it's gonna turn around, oh, it's gonna
we
turn
will
around, oh,
bring
it's gonna
that
turn around.
equipment,
Yeah,
we will bring that personnel, we'll bring
very
that
rare.
technical assistance
And especially with options,
to
even
the
if it
next
does,
hotspot.
sometimes like what
I
you're gonna
said,
get
"Mr.
like
President, I'll be part
an extra
of
$50
going to the next
maybe if
hotspot
you're
with our
lucky,
team.
as opposed to
We're
losing
asking
another
the country to help
$400. I mean,
us.
it just
We will
whoa, this
return
look at the
our votes,
divergence on these ticks.
and we are all in
Crazy.
this together.
That's because of the Dow.
And we're asking for their help and their consideration.
Yeah, look at those. Look at all the markets
We
down here, and then
believe
because of the
will
Dow's way up,
live
it's
it.
yeah, it's funny. So this is the NYSE, so it kind of
The
includes
Senate is
everything. So it's
also,
kind of tricky because that's the
considering a $2
S&P.
trillion
There's the
bill,
NASI, and then that's
which
the
is, quote-unquote,
Russell. So this is like a combination, but
relief
kind of the Dow.
businesses, individuals, and governments.
Yeah, BA's taking
it
off
would
again.
Really,
I'm gonna
be
cut this
terrible for the
anyway
state of
because
New
I'm
York.
probably gonna get
A
off here
$2
in a minute.
trillion bill. What does it mean for New York State government? It means $3.8 billion.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to him anymore. The Who does come on. They're saying in 107 minutes. So they're coming on at like 1:30. So really late for them. Normally they don't come on that late. So that's really interesting. So we'll kind of look around the market before I get off here. The VIX is still a little bit in the green. You can see bonds and 10 years are coming down along with gold. So that's pointing a little bit more bullish for now. Everybody's seeming to taking the news with, first of all, you've got corona deaths up to 802, infections to 55,000. And then taking the stimulus deal not being signed, seem to be taking it just fine so far. So maybe because it hasn't been quite sell the news yet. So that'll be interesting to see. FANG stocks are kind of flattened out where they are. Apple's back up, still 2%. Facebook, Amazon, both down 2%. And Netflix also. And then Google's leading the charge down at 3.6%. And Microsoft just barely down $1. Boeing really pushing up here strong, all the way up 35%, ripping up over there. So it's 174 is the high here. It's going to continue to rip up. This is going to turn into be an absolutely insane trade. I'm glad somebody else is on it. I know Willie's on it. I hope somebody else took that with us. We've been on this for a couple days. I got to look at the profits. I think it's over 1,000% now. I'll look and post it in Discord. Shopify trade, it's up over 5% here, so I think that's up over 600% as well. The Roku is looking better and better as we get closer and closer down to the next 4-hour candle. Yeah, Boeing's going to start getting overextended here, and then there might be a nice short, but I would not touch that thing yet. Short because as they're getting all this news that's positive for the airliners and they're not having to sell out to the government, it's going to just rip. I mean, you guys got to think that was a $400 stock before everything started. So I mean, all their problems. I don't expect them to get up there that quick, but it's on its way. So, yeah. So we're going to be dancing around these key levels. This 2450 is going to be absolutely important until it's not. So I think a lot of this is just going to be kind of range driven, guys. So that's where we're going to be. So obviously I'll still be on Discord. I will definitely come back on the voice channel probably during the Who, depending on what else I'll get back on and stream. I'm going to do some recording. I've got to talk to a couple students here, go over some stuff. I'll be on Discord with you guys, and I'll definitely be giving levels and all that stuff, especially if anything changes from where we're at right now. Just expecting a lot of chop in this range here. Making sure I'm not forgetting anything else. I don't know. I think that's really about it, guys. Yeah. So I will talk to you all soon. All right, guys, take it easy. I'll talk to you soon, guys.